So now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, Roger, how come the tundra's melting? How come it's getting warm? Well, I'm glad you asked. And here is the reason right here. We are scrubbing through the particles, the saturated particles that are in space, and out here it's thousands of degrees. Then it goes to minus over 100 degrees, and then it gets hot again on the surface. The hotter it gets here, the colder it gets below. The colder it gets below, the hotter it gets below that. Everything is a dipole, and we are at the hot zone of the dipole, and then the Earth is supposed to absorb that. Well, the Earth can't absorb anymore. It's just too much. It's melting everything because we're scrubbing harder and harder. And as we expand our envelope, the more gases we put in the atmosphere, the more scrub we're going to have. It's already, if you look up and say, is the outer atmosphere getting hotter? It'll say yes in the last couple of decades because of so much expansion. And is the layer below getting colder? And they'll say yes. And they have no idea why. And then we know we're getting warmer on the surface of the Earth. We're getting tornadoes and hurricanes, absolute disaster, floods, weather patterns changing. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. The only way out of this that I can see is to get free electricity. And that I think we can do. I honestly think we can do it because we use the Venturi to separate the muons from the electron neutrinos. And again, I need to talk to somebody in the Trump administration. If they're touting all this, they want efficiency, they want all this truth, they want all God back in it. I got all that. I got every bit of that. I mean, Musk understands all this. He's got engineers. It should be easy to be able to do this in a matter of a couple days and find out if I'm right. This is light from a pulsed red laser. Cheap little thing, construction laser. It measures. It goes beep, 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 beep. And that's that. Now, in each one of these waves, there is a particle. The particle creates a huge magnetic field. And as that field sweeps across, it excites all the electrons in front. And then, heading to the Venturi, it accelerates. That is not allowed in the physics that anybody agrees with now. Well, it can't happen. I said, well, here it is. Oh, no, you're seeing this peridot area. Well, you explain it to me then. This started out with just a sort of a wave. We know what a Venturi does. It's an accelerator. It pulled that particle, which I will show you the particle, right out of the wave of magnetism. Bam! And then the black particle stayed this way. The white went into showers, and it went back to being a complete particle again. That's called fission. That's called fusion. This is called raw electron showers. Exactly what they want, and exactly what they've been asking for, and exactly what they denied me at Fermilab. And this is the kind of Higgs fields we got. They got zero. We used light, so we were so far ahead of them right from the beginning. And this goes back 12 years ago. So this is something I'm upset about. These are muon neutrinos with electron neutrino. They're black and white together. Then they went into the shower mode and a sterile muon. Before they were together as neutrinos. And here they're separated. They come back together. Fission, fusion. Raw electricity. The amount of electricity in an electron shower can be up to a trillion electron volts. Making that laser shine only takes a couple of 100 million. So from a couple of 100 million, even into the billions. And you can get, well, let me just show you. I keep showing this. They keep proton, and then huge factories and gigantic billions of dollars they spent. And then they create hadrons and flux energies and neutrinos. And finally they get down to where we started. With light, which is electrons and the muons, electron neutrinos and muon neutrinos. The energy of the neutrinos interacting in their little device is a few hundred giga electron volts up to a few trillion electron volts. Anytime you increase the brightness of something, you increase the energy. We increase the brightness to a factor of trillions. All right, you see this? We started out with just basically, you can't even see the light. The light was not even visible because it wasn't powerful enough. Here, the only reason you can even see it now is because it's beginning to accelerate. And then it accelerated off the charts. Bzzz. Bam! What happens then? The black can't get through. It's too tight. The Venturi can't let the black through. And so now what does it do? It slaps against the white because it pushes white. White is pushed by the black. The black is, they used to call it the carrier, the boson carrier. I don't know. They keep changing things. But it's the mass. This is the dark matter, and it is gravity. The black is the dark matter, and it's gravity. All this is solved 12 years ago. And the guy that stood in front of this is Don Lincoln from Fermilab. These are the problems with this one guy. Everywhere I went for all my research, oh, you got to talk to this guy. I said, well, why do I have to talk to him? Can I publish it somewhere? See if no. He's got to be the guy that says it's okay. I said, what? And that happened to me at Yale. It happened to me at Fermilab. It happened to me at CERN. It happened to me everywhere. It happened to me down, well, never mind. It went on and on and on. I mean, and because I started getting really, well, never mind. So this is, what we need is this right here. We need to be able to have a little device like that you carry around like a lunchbox, and it has all your energy right in it, and it just flows that white energy down, these high energy showers. That's the white energy, goes right down in, and that's the energy Musk uses in his Tesla cars. He needs that. What if he could take something like this and pump these cars out, and you give this guy and say, here's your energy. He said, well, what do I do with this? You say, you plug in your car. I said, well, what do you mean? You just carry it around, you plug your car, and you just go driving. Well, where do I get it filled up? You don't fill anything up. It just makes energy all by itself. It's what's called free, clean, safe, and excellent quality energy, because it's just raw electrons. The raw electrons have no mass that I can find or to speak of at all. So if you put your harvester right here, before it came back to the black, because that's what all it cares about, is getting back to the black. This is the strong nuclear force. And these are nuclear particles. They're inside the nucleus. Light is down inside the nucleus. And there's 1,839 particles of light. I mean, electrons, dipole electrons. I think that's what I came with. 1839 was the number, I believe, which is the number of electrons in a proton, because every electron adds together to make a proton. So anyway, that's this is good. I see no reason to think that this would not be viable, but it's been completely refused. Even though I showed Don Lincoln at Fermilab, I said, we found your particles, Don. Would you please look at that? No, because you're a tinfoil hat and an embarrassment to science. And I said, Don, what do you think this is? Oh, that's just refraction. I said, what do you mean refraction? No, you can't use CMOS. You're crazy, la, 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 la. And I mean, it was, and then it became nasty, as it always does, and then I get ugly, and he gets ugly, and everything's, well, maybe he didn't get ugly. I don't know. I don't want to put ugliness into him. I got ugly. And these are the particles. These are the particles they're looking for. These are the particles. And not only did we have them in their completeness as light and dipoles, we had them in their complete unness, which was when they were separated, which is called fission and fusion. Every one of these things completely crushes physics. Totally, 100%. Because you can speed up light and we can slow down light, and the universe is saturated with particles and fields. And these are particles too, and they're light. Light's everywhere, you just don't see it. It's just too small to see. But out in space, it's still bumping. And even Don Lincoln, the same guy that did this, he says, space is not empty, it's got quantum foam. And quantum foam is these, and he says it blinks on and off, flicking on and off, because other things are coming through and hitting them. Blink, 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 blink. They don't stay together, they just bang into each other, and light slows down. That's why the Webb telescope is a joke. You see this? They've never even seen any of this stuff, because they're using billions and billions and billions of dollars. They never find anything. This is just another cell phone picture using CMOS. I told them all. I said, you got to use CMOS. You're not going to invade anything. You're just sitting back picking up the pictures just like you do with a cell phone. And that's all we did. And these particles, they're so tiny. They're photons. That's what light is. It's photons. And inside of every little pixel, there's amplifiers. And there's CMOS. What is that? Complementary metal oxide silicate. What does that mean? Oh, big name. It's just simple. All it means is that in these pixels, they have all these metals. And every one of them picks up a different frequency of light. Some of the frequencies are this long. They spin, but here, let me show you. Here's the frequencies of light. They spin. They don't flap like a wave. So some of them, but when you see, look at sideways, it looks like a wave. Some of them are this long when they're red. Some of them are this long when they're green, and some of them are this long when they're blue. All right, it's just the speed of the spin that determines the color of the particle. And you need to be able to sense every one of those spins. So now they have these complementary. Complementary means one adds to the other. And they just keep sucking all those particles up and turning them into colors and into energy fields. Simple as that. It's not a big deal. And this is this right here. This is what you get from NASA and CERN and all them. They know what I'm doing. Trust me, they know. I went to University of Geneva, and I told them about the CMOS, and they argued with me at first, and by the time we were done, they understood I was right. Because they were using these gigantic particles like this and hitting their receptors. They must have tried CMOS. I didn't get that deep with it. Well, I got deep enough to show them that I was right. And by the time I was done, they basically agreed. And they must have tried CMOS at one time. And when they break their particles, they have huge things like this. CMOS is delicate. It's delicate. And they hit it and they just destroy it. All right, so they couldn't use CMOS, and they said the same thing to me. They said, no, these hot particles are too high energy to use CMOS. And I said, no, they're too high energy to use big chunks of particles. But a single particle, that's what they're there for. That's the whole option of CMOS. That's what it's there for, to pick up a single photon. So anyway, they actually upgraded CERN. Took them 2 years or more to put in CMOS detectors. I'm sorry, that just happened. And that happened after I explained to them that's what you should do. So they can say, oh, Roger had nothing to do with it, he's just an idiot. Well, no, I don't think so. I had all this stuff done long before they ever did, and they still don't have it done. They still don't have it done. And this is 12 years ago. And Don Lincoln said, no, you're a tinfoil hat guy, you're an embarrassment to science. Well, Don, I don't think that's how it's going to end, my friend. Okay, here they go again. Universe's expansion defies explanation. New data shatters cosmological models. Yes, because nothing's right. I am going to start and go right through the whole thing, and we have to get Trump and Musk or whoever can help us to straighten this out, to look, just look. I don't care if they accept it or not, but now they're saying that new research confirms the universe is expanding faster than they can predict. The theoretical models it's intensifying the Hubble tension. It does not work. The universe is not expanding the way they say. It might be, but light is slowing down. There is literally no question about it. If you think that light can come through this, hold on, where did it go? Where are you? Hold on. All right, here it is right here. And I don't have access to this. I don't know what settings he used. He had just got a brand new cell phone. A guy in New Zealand did this. He doesn't want to be associated to this anymore, I don't think. I cannot contact him, so I don't want to drag somebody into something they don't want to be involved in. Now, this shows everything is a dipole. You see all the black and white, black and white, black and white. What the hell is going on out there? This is the moon. Why are these bright spots on top of the moon? And why do they assemble and not looking whatever that is? And why is this pyramid in Atlantis? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not Atlantis. Maybe it's not a pyramid. I don't know what it is. But I can tell you what all these are. These are magnetic fields. And if you think light goes through that magnetic field and does not change, you are out of your mind. If they everything is based 100% of Webb, and everything is science is based that light can't change speed. It goes the same speed all the time. Absolutely insanity. And they know this now. Nobody could. Cosmic microwave background. What is that? What does that mean? Cosmic microwave background. Well, big deal. You know what it is? It's light that can went boom, 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 boom. It's just drifting around. Beep, 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 as light comes through and hits it. It's as simple as that. And when they hit those fields, they don't just keep going the same speed. They start slowing down. So what does NASA say? They say, oh, we know there's a big bang because of evolution, and we all came from slime because of a big bang, and that's the only way it could have started. So the only way you could be here is from slime. There was no creation. There was no God. Forget all that stuff. No, I say absolutely not. I say here's what happened. Instead of us being in the center of a big bang, that's how they would have to see it, because light is they're saying it's being pulled away as the particles from the big bang spread out. But they're spreading out in every direction. So we must be the center of the universe as far as they're concerned. It's just absolute nonsense. The particles might be pulling away a little bit from something here and there, but they're certainly not pulling away at the speed of light, because right now they say nothing fits. They say now the actual material is going faster than the speed of light, which isn't allowed in the first place. It's so far off, it's amazing. And we spent another billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they're still saying every day, wow, look at what we just discovered. No, you didn't discover anything. You discovered that we are fools for allowing you people to do this to us. They're telling you that you don't slow down going through this? That's insanity. But it sure proves my dipole electron flood theory. Everything's dipoles, 100%. And that is my dipole electron flood theory. I've had it since 1970. And this is what the standard model is wrong, and this is what the real model is that all the dark goes to the center, surrounded by all the white. So anytime you ever look at anything, it's white. So you say, where's the dark matter? Well, the dark matter is in the center. We're made out of half dark. Well, all of the substance of us primarily is dark matter attached to some electrons. But every core of every atom is made of dark matter. Every atom has a weight. Every weight is the black. The white has literally no weight that I can determine. It's all the energy, but none of the weight. The black has all the weight and just movement. It has energy when it's dark energy moving white energy. All right, it doesn't emit, it doesn't absorb, and it doesn't reflect any of it. So it's always been lost. They say, oh, we can't find it. Well, there it is. And this is up on the web. It's called dipoleelectronflood.com. Very simple, couple of minute read. That's the only two particles that exist, the white one and the black one. And normally they're glued together, called a gluon. All right, one of those literally is an electron. That's what they always thought. But they didn't know about this part. All they knew about was that. Now, together, they create heat. They're not electricity. They're heat. Static, electricity, lightning, strictly the white. Because you can separate them. Normally, photons are like that. That's what a photon is. Changes everything in chemistry, space, redshift, space-time distances, and literally everything changes. Once you change everything, because everything you thought was coming, this big bang nonsense and stretched out universe being pulled away from every side of the whole. It's absolutely nonsense. And they can get away with doing this in the name of, well, we need more funding. Give us another couple $100 billion. We can figure this out in another 30, 40 years. Time for that to end, my friends. And I hope my friends, like Donald Trump and Vance, and Musk and all the rest of them. Let's get this straightened out so we can have a realistic, honest world. If I'm wrong, that's good. That's good. I'm okay with that. But if Musk or somebody with the talents and the resources could put a few people on this to see if they can create this. And all he'd have to do is put the lasers through a very finely tuned Venturi. Rod spent a lot of time on this, but he was just a hobby guy. He had no interest in atomic physics or anything. I was in the atomic stuff. But he spent a lot of time, but he just put a couple of round pins down, and they were actually finishing nails. And he puts, I think, 3 or so down, like to make a double slit. But what he did was he created a Venturi. And you just saw it, what happened. Only the white came through. And only the white came through. Hold on one second. There it is. The black stayed back. The black stayed back, and only the white came through. And then the black came back. It stayed back, it came back, and only the white came through. Oh, I like that. We can make a song out of that. And that's fission, fusion, a nuclear explosion. That is a nuclear explosion. Subnuclear. It's not breaking up big chunks of atoms. It's breaking up particles that are so small, is what they get when they do their atomic explosion. They don't realize it. This is what they're getting out. And then the black follows along with it. We're doing it just exactly the same as they're doing it, only on a miniature scale. But we're getting out the energy that they're trying to harvest. And all we have to do is put that through a harvester, or, through almost like a solar panel, solar collector. Musk should know what to do with this. Somebody's going to have to stand up and pay attention. I can't do this forever. I am going to lose it before long. I'm getting too old to do this shit. Day after day after day, and nobody pays attention. It's a frustrating life, my friends. I don't know if I showed you these or not, but these are the particles. These are the red ones. These are photons. All right, that's light. Just before it hits the Venturi, it shows up as a photon. And then we also had the green ones are identical. All the photons are the same. It's just at the spin rate. This is a much faster spin. And we had them coming through the Venturi both at the same time, and the green ones just slapped the red ones right out of the way because they're just coming through like a rocket ship, and the red ones are just sort of rolling. And when that comes through, boom, it's all over, gone. Case is closed for the red ones. It just pushes it out of the way. And we had, these are the Higgs fields coming out at us, and that's a reverse particle, which is an antiparticle. Something nobody's ever seen before, and it took me about 3 years to figure out how that affected, and here it is right here. That's yikes, 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 and double yikes. Now, to dismiss this and to deny even discussion and to block me from Family Lab, that's just not right. It's just not right at all. If we could do something like this, just think of the boon to mankind, and to stop expanding the atmosphere. That's the problem. I'd love to have energy independence, absolutely. However, nobody's taking this into consideration. What we're doing is pumping our atmosphere up so high, and if you look up the statistics, I can show this, and I will. It's pumping up higher and higher. It's getting hotter and hotter out there. In the last couple of decades, they say it just keeps getting hotter and hotter. That means it gets colder and colder, and they say that too. And that means it's getting hotter and hotter on Earth, and they say that too. And the tundra is melting. And they say that too. And here's the layers of temperature. This is out where the space station is and stuff. Looking down in a very, there's not a whole lot of particles. They're there. And they know, they see them all the time. When they come around, anyway, they're out there, but they're in a less of it's very light out there. Where the atmosphere scrubs here, they would call that the firmament if you were a flat earther. And it scrubs right here. And it's somewhat firm. And it scrubs, and it's hotter than hell, 1,500 degrees Celsius. I think that's Well, I know it's way over 2,000 degrees. And then it goes at the dipole layer, immediately underneath, it's minus 80 degrees Celsius. That's minus 112. So you're thousands of degrees difference between these two layers. And why would it get cold right underneath hot? And then it gets hot again. And then you're down into the earth, which is supposed to absorb it. And it did. It does. But it's absorbing too much and it's overheated. It's overheated. Plus, the sun gives off particles in different intensities at different times as it charges up. And I think it just went through a solar maximum, which means it's the maximum amount of output of the sun. And we had to absorb that. And then we also have all this expansion of the atmosphere and all these huge, huge fires all over the world. They're not just here. They're all over the world, and they will get worse. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I am the bearer of honesty, regardless of where it goes. And all this stuff I'm showing blows everybody's mind, but it's damn true. New invention generates electricity out of thin air, offers clean energy 24/7. I don't know who put that out, but I think maybe we can do it. I think maybe it could be done. And even the Russians, they've already made a black hole in space. I'm looking into this now because, well, forget that. I got so many things I'm looking into. That's why I get confused a lot. Plus I'm losing it. That's just what happens when you get old. And, there's dragons all over the earth. Nobody cares about any of this. I call them PhDs, perfectly happy deluded. They have PhDolia. They say, well, you got Piodolia, or whatever they call it, which you can see anything you want to see. Well, guess what? I see dragon scales running all the way down. And this is only this one side of them. The other side, this is just his throat. That was with the last meal, more than likely. And I show this over and over and over. Some will see, some will never see. And they don't want to see. They're just perfectly happy deluded, and they're perfectly happy living off of the children, off of the kids. That's what they're doing now. They're telling them, you have to say what I tell you to say, or it will destroy your life. What would you do? You want that piece of paper, you say what they tell you to say. See, this is the things that drive them crazy. These things were all in substance. This guy was real. He was frozen in time by the gods, just like Harvard says. They did it for fun. They wanted to make these people in awe and then freeze them. Now, why do I say this guy's real? That's his heart right there. That's where his heart is leaking the blood out. I understand the biology better than anybody in the world at this point. And where you see these black things coming out of his eyes and so forth, that's actually ferrous oxide blood. And it's a lot of his bird poop too, yes. I can't dismiss that either. But look at these things. Look at the damn things. And that's exactly what Harvard said. He said they turned them into all kinds of things. And just for fun. And they could turn them solid just like that. Because they can control the atoms. And these were immortal creatures, so they're around here somewhere. I don't know where they are. But as far as I'm concerned, they could be right up here, living right off the planet. As I showed you before somewhere. I keep losing that. That is interesting. That is interesting. I know I showed it to you. Hold on a second. I know I showed it to you. I don't know how it jumped off the page. These are dipoles again. This is the Pleiades, I believe. And again, these just got sent to me. I can't get a hold of the guy. But I can tell you what, this is like it's like two sets of fields. Very, very interesting pattern. That's the moon. And these are the Pleiades. Now, are they right up here close somewhere? I don't know. Light doesn't travel at the speed they're talking about. That's insanity. So we don't know anything where we are. And I know I showed you this too, because I pointed out that this could be where these guys are living. I have no idea. None, zero. But I know that some of them were immortal, and I'm going along with that now. And they're not good creatures, and they will twist your mind to do their bidding, and they have. I call it academia. I see. That's the most devious system that's ever been invented. You have to go there and pay them to get a piece of paper to say that you're smart, and then if you don't say what they tell you to say, they'll say you're not smart, and they'll keep your money. We need a forum so that you can at least speak up. Because right now, if you speak up, they fail you. They don't have to. Nobody supervises them. They supervise you, and they give you what's called menticide. You repeat what you're told to say, or your life will be destroyed. Literally, they can destroy your life. It's just about as good as tacking you up on a cross. So you don't do what I tell you, you're done, pal. You're done. So you better go home and remember what you're told to say. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. Just as long as you say it the way I tell you, and you say it exactly the way I tell you, and then when you go back, you don't divert from that. Otherwise, people think you're stupid. And if you don't say what I tell you to say, I will tell everybody you are stupid. And I'll keep your money. So, you have free will, do whatever you want. Well, duh. This is the problem we're up against. Trump, Vance, Musk, we need to hit this thing hard. And like Trump said, we're going to hit it on the ground running. That's what I'm hoping for. So far, I've been extremely disappointed. I hope that will not be the case this time. All right. Thank you. I love you all. President Trump, I think you're going to do a fabulous job, my friend. I'm not a political guy. And like I heard you say, you will be a peaceful president. And strength is peace. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I wish you the best. Thank you. I love you all.